Washington, Los Angeles, Portland, Salt Lake City. Join me and my friends as we fly to the West Coast and back in the dead of winter. We'll fly United and Delta almost 5,600 miles. Will the big winter storm in the Northwest throw a wrench in our plans? Stick around and find out. As I'm recording this intro, it's about 36 hours before our flight that you're about to watch. And if you're watching this video, hopefully that means everything went well and we have something interesting to show you. But this trip started out way differently than what you're about to see. Back in October, my friends and I saw an itinerary on Delta Airlines on their A350 domestic first class. For under $400, we could fly from Detroit to Atlanta and back home in their Delta One suite. So that seemed awesome, so we booked that. And for about 3 weeks, our itinerary was to Baltimore to Detroit, to Atlanta, back to Baltimore in about 18 hours. 3 weeks later, though, that A350 flight got downgraded to an A321. No longer was it worth it for us to spend that long in Detroit just for an A321 first class. We wanted the Delta One suite. So we scrapped that trip entirely. My buddy Ryan had never flown a Boeing 737 MAX at all. So we knew that United flew to the West Coast out of our home, Baltimore. So we booked a flight from BWI to LA on United 737 MAX 9. This was looking great, and we booked a connection back to Portland and back to Salt Lake City and all the way back to Baltimore, so we made a little bit of a day out of it. This was looking great up until about 6 days ago. And I'm sure you know by now that over the weekend around January 6th or 7th, the Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 incident that ended up grounding their entire fleet, and as a result, United's entire fleet. So we're watching, thinking maybe the fleet's going to get ungrounded in time for our flight, and as the days this past week marched on and on, we became less and less sure. The 8th got canceled, the 9th got canceled, the 10th got canceled. The 11th, which is today, actually operated on a 900 ER, but the 12th got canceled, and ultimately the 13th got canceled when we were planning to fly. Yesterday morning, we made the decision to get out ahead of that. So we called United. We actually got a waiver that we could change our flight as long as the origin and destination airports were the same and the flight was within a month. So we could change our flight for no change in airfare, no change in fee at all. But the only other option that would also get us to LAX in time for the rest of our trip was also on 2 MAX 9s through Chicago O'Hare. That was even less certain to happen than our flight. So I called United and I said, hey look, we need to get to LA by this time on the 13th. And can we fly out of Dulles? We saw a 777-200 out of Dulles, left at 9 a.m., would have gotten us out there in the perfect amount of time. So after close to an hour on hold, he was able to switch all of our itineraries, all 3 of us, onto this 777 out of Dulles. So right now, hopefully, our plan is to go from Dulles to LAX to Portland to Salt Lake City, back home. It will be my second United 777-200. We're going to take a Delta A319 from LA to Portland, a Delta 737-900 ER from Portland to Salt Lake City, and then all of our first A220-300 on the red-eye back to Baltimore. So I hope everything goes as planned without a hitch, and I hope you all enjoy. Our day starts at Washington Dulles. We're here a little after 7 for a 9 a.m. departure. With no bags to check, we head right for the security checkpoint. The security line was long, but it moved fast. 15 minutes later, we're boarding the people movers that will take us to Concourse D. These are unique to Dulles as far as I'm aware. They may not be as fast as the trains at most airports, but with great views of the action on the ramp like this, it's hard to complain. Check out this Air India Dreamliner loading for New Delhi. Concourses C and D at Dulles are not the best of what the airport has to offer. While concourses A and B offer wide halls and tall ceilings with huge windows, lots of natural light, and tons of restaurants, concourses C and D are narrow, crammed and lacking in amenities with minimal views of the outside. Here we see our beast of a 777-200ER that'll take us across to Los Angeles this morning. This 21-year-old domestic configured 777-200ER features the Pratt & Whitney engines that were the cause of fleet-wide grounding in 2021. We board right on time. It was a very smooth process by United. I found out the day before this trip that this seating configuration has a small group of Economy Plus seats behind the wing. That enables me to get this great wing view while not sacrificing on the legroom I'll need for the next 6 hours. I'm here in seat 40L. The action at Dulles, even at 9 in the morning, is awesome compared to what I'm used to over BWI. Check out these Middle Eastern planes coming in. And how cool is this thing? I've never really gotten to see it work up close like this. The safety video starts, and we push out of gate D5 right on time. It's the perfect start to our trip.
In the unlikely event oxygen is needed on today's flight, please remove your face covering.
Winds are pretty strong from the northwest today, so we join the queue for runway 30. Soon enough, it's our turn. We leave behind a gloomy Washington Dulles and head across the country to Los Angeles. I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be than on this 777 right now. A few days ago, we were given the option to pre-select our meal. I chose the reclined snack box that came loaded with buttered popcorn, honey mustard pretzel bites, gummy bears, an Oreo, and of course, the stroopwafel. It was just what I needed to keep me satisfied until LAX. This aircraft is one of only 4 United domestic configured 777-200ERs with seatback entertainment. Most of the domestic fleet doesn't have it. That can really elevate an experience in my opinion. Our trip looks like it should be smooth, aside from some weather in the northwest. Portland especially is getting hit with some snow. After this flight, all our flights are on Delta, so it'll be easier to work with the airline if something goes wrong and we miss a connection. The Wi-Fi on this flight wasn't working despite the cabin crew's multiple attempts to reboot it. Texting was free like on many airlines, and Wi-Fi was $8 for the whole flight if you're a Mileage Plus member, which I think is extremely fair. The Wi-Fi outage would definitely have been a bigger issue without the seatback entertainment. But let's be honest, who needs that? You have views of America's heartland. With the help of a couple movies, the time on this flight passed by nicely. Here's Las Vegas to our north. This city is still on my bucket list. Shortly after crossing into Southern California, we begin our descent down to Los Angeles. This was the first wide-body flight for one of my friends on this trip, and I was very excited for him. There's just something different about flying in a wide-body. The IAD's crew today was extremely friendly and helpful. Everyone just seemed like they were in a good mood on the flight today. I don't think we could have asked for a better start to our trip. When we arrive at LAX, we'll be walking from Terminal 7 to Terminal 2, which should take about 20 minutes. Once we're there, we'll check out the Delta Sky Club before boarding our flight up to Portland. If you thought there was a lot of aircraft diversity at Dulles, the aircraft diversity at LAX is off the charts. Looks like we'll be racing this Turkish 777-300ER to final approach. Here you can see SoFi Stadium, home of the Rams and Chargers. Last time I got this view in 2017, this area was a big pile of dirt. We exit the runway like normal, and I assume we'll taxi right to our gate 76A. But it turns out a flight to Tokyo is still there and is running late. And we're super early. It's not a great combo. We want to maximize our time in the Sky Club, so I prefer not to wait too long.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Captain. We're in between the runways now. We're just awaiting an aircraft that is departing off of our gate 76. They're scheduled to leave the gate in about 4 minutes, so hopefully they'll be on time. We'll be on our way over to the gate. Please stay in your seat, keep your seatbelt fastened, and appreciate your patience.
After a delay of 50 minutes, 50 minutes, almost an hour, we're finally headed to our gate. A connection time of 2.5 hours is now an hour and a half. Couple that with a 20-minute walk across the airport and providing time for boarding, and we can't be in the Sky Club for longer than half an hour. Not quite the relaxing break we're hoping for. We begin our trek through a maze of people. Most partner airlines have terminals near each other, so very few passengers ever have to travel this far between terminals like we did. Still, it's a bit of a wonder there's no people mover, such as a tram or bus service. Oh well, we're all excited for this workout. A couple sections of this walk give us some unbeatable views of the ramp. Finally, here's a sign we were looking for. By all accounts, the LAX Sky Club is one of the nicest in Delta's network. The mac and cheese and ribs were the best Sky Club food I've ever had. But the open-air viewing deck is the main attraction here. We're here just in time for Lufthansa's majestic 747-8 from Frankfurt. We head to the gate just a couple minutes after boarding started. They were on main 1 by the time we got there, but there was no line. We did not break stride as we scanned our tickets and walked right on board. Easiest boarding experience ever. My home for the next 2 hours is this seat 2D. It is spacious and comfy, and I'm looking forward to this flight. Settled in here, flight number 2. Great departure sprite, can't beat it. So weather in Portland currently has a winter storm warning, so we'll see what that materializes in, but we're on board right now, we're comfortable, and they're looking for a good flight. We push out of gate 28 right on time. Even with that United arrival delay, the vibes on this trip are immaculate. This is going really well. It's a super quick taxi to runway 25 left. We say goodbye to the sunny beaches of Los Angeles and head up the west coast to Portland. We all booked seats on the right side of the aircraft, hoping to be treated to some stunning west coast scenery. Sadly, this will be the last land we saw until a short final because of all the clouds and the big storm up the west coast. But you know what? That's okay. I'm enjoying my first of many bourbons on this trip and watching playoff football on Delta's live TV. It does not get much better than this. Just under an hour and a half, and I think vibes are super great. Watching some football, taking in the scenery on the west coast, and looking forward to the last 2 flights. We're almost halfway done. Delta's free Wi-Fi was working perfectly, and it allowed us to track our flight on FlightAware. You can see the big sheet of winter weather right over the PDX. So we just started our way down into Portland. Weather has not gotten worse. It has not gotten better either. Very windy, about 16 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to get in on time. Hopefully we're able to leave on time as well. Fortunately, once we're in there, we're just one itinerary back home. That's a lot easier for airlines to help us out if there's any cancellation delay. I'm still feeling great. We're almost halfway done our trip. Ryan's suffering a little bit, so we're going to try and see if we can get him up to first class on our next flight. But yeah, we've seen nothing but clouds on our whole way up the west coast, and it's not going to get much better until we get back to Baltimore, honestly. So it is what it is. No scenery, but we're still feeling great. Still in the air. Hard to have a bad time when you're doing that, right? Yeah, it's going to be clouds and bumps from here on down.
passenger ready top pleasure to welcome you to Portland, where the local time is 4:02 p.m. Please stay seated with your seatbelts fastened and carry items stowed until the aircraft is parked to the gate and the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. Be careful when opening your overhead bins to record injury from items that may have shifted during flight.
Yeah, just look at the wind on the surface here. This is brutal weather, and the ground crew here at PDX did a great job. This Frontier A320neo is headed to Las Vegas. They have a great idea. Well, we're at the gate. On-time arrival, but the jet bridge has snow in it, so we're going to wait for them to clear that. That's just kind of what you get when you're flying in the north in January. We just learned also that our flight to Salt Lake City is delayed by about 40 minutes. Not a big deal, we have plenty of time there. Yeah, I think next time we try to go somewhere warm, but for now it is what it is, and we're just going to make the best of it. Flight 2 out of 4 done. The terminal here in Portland is big, quiet, and spacious. It'll be a nice way to spend the next hour and a half. Looks like Delta put out some water bottles and some snacks to help alleviate some pain from the delays. The de-icing crew here is putting on a show to get this A320 ready to fly back to LAX. It's currently sitting at our gate, so we hope it heads out soon. Finally, our 737-900ER pulls into the gate. Let's hope we can get this thing on the road soon. Well, we're still in Portland. Original departure time was 5:25. Now get pushed to 6:28. It's about 5 of 6 right now, so we should be boarding any minute now, unless we get delayed any further. Good news is we have plenty of buffer time in Salt Lake City. That's obviously really important to do when you do this kind of stuff. So we're not in any panic mode yet, but we would certainly like to get going over to Salt Lake City. And just like that, we're boarding shortly after I made that video, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before we're on our way to Salt Lake City. This seat, 3A, was an upgrade because of my medallion status. Well, that's a first. Apparently there's one fueler here in Portland, which is just going to add to the already rampant weather problems that the whole Northwest is facing right now. They said we should be probably 10 minutes or so from getting fueled, then de-iced, then out of here finally. Hopefully that stands true, but kind of hard to believe they just have one fueler here in Portland tonight. They say no news is good news, but not really in this case. So it's been about 15 minutes since they last told us they were hoping to be next in line for refueling, and now apparently when they call the refueling depot, it's going to voicemail, which is what you'll love to hear. So we're still chilling. We're just watching some TV, and hopefully we're on our way to Salt Lake City soon. Still here, boarded an hour ago. Sounds like we are moving in the right direction there with fueling. We're currently scheduled to get into Salt Lake City with about an hour and a half to our connection back to Baltimore. So that's a lot less time than we were hoping to have. We were hoping to kind of relax there. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. But yes, still getting to Salt Lake City at all is the goal, I feel like, right now. It is 7:30. We were supposed to leave at 5:30. Sounds like we did just get fueled up, so hopefully they say about half an hour from now. We're down to about an hour 15 in our connection in Salt Lake City, so we booked a nice long buffer for a good reason, but we're sure chipping away at that, so hopefully we're out of here soon. Next to us, an A220 from Seattle pulls in. I hope they're not expecting to go anywhere anytime soon. We're still waiting for our de-icing at this point. The boarding door is closed. So they're pretty optimistic we'll be out in about 20 minutes. It's now 2 hours and 17 minutes after our scheduled departure time. There's some passengers who already gotten off. We were looking at new itineraries for those connecting. This is just such an important reminder to book padded connections this time of year in this part of the country, because if we booked an hour and a half connection to Baltimore, we would not be going to Baltimore tonight. So we played it safe, and hopefully we're still in position for that to play out well for us.
Here's an extremely welcome sight, the safety video. These generally don't play until the aircraft is ready to go. I think we're getting close. The de-icers are finally getting to work. I know they're working hard, but I've never seen a de-icing this slow before. At this point, every second counts. We ended up taking half an hour to get de-iced. That's unheard of.
We are pushed, and the engines are started, and we're finally on our way to Salt Lake City at about 8:57 p.m. for a 5:25 flight. They're going to have to hold the plane for us if we make our connection. That plane boards in about 35 minutes, so I'm really not too optimistic. I do hope they're sensitive to connections from all the delays in the Northwest, but you never know. So we'll get an update once we're airborne, and hopefully we'll be there in just enough time to make our connection onto Baltimore. So, update, the app no longer thinks we're going to make our connection. Delta 1027 to Baltimore is on time, and we're not. So I've been rebooked onto a 1:10 a.m. red-eye flight to Atlanta and connecting on to Baltimore. I don't have a seat assignment yet. I don't know anything about this flight. I just know that I think I'm on it, so I'll get to the gate agent there or the help desk or whoever can help me. The app won't even let me check in, so I know nothing about what my next 10 hours looks like. But sounds like I'll be getting home about 6 hours after I planned on. All Portland had to do was not take 3 hours to get us out of there. It was just the ground staff, unfortunately. So it is what it is. We're going home now.
This is hands down the craziest weather I've ever flown through. This is a full-on blizzard on our way down to Salt Lake City. Are you kidding me? That's the flight to Baltimore. They pushed back a minute early. Could they not have waited 20 minutes for us? Well, we're definitely not on this plane now.
Connection has definitely left already, so now we're going to go to the gate agent and see what they're doing for us.
Salt Lake City's new terminal is very nice, but there's no time for that right now.
So there has been a new development.
I am booked on the flight to Atlanta and then on to Baltimore, but as a standby, so the flight is oversold. And I just spoke to the gate agent, and what they're gonna do is give me a $600 credit to spend the night and connect on the DCA tomorrow, which works out really well. My girlfriend lives about 20 minutes from there, so she can get me from there. But I'm either on this flight or I get my hotel comped, and I'll be in DC, little afternoon tomorrow. So it'll work out either way. Hoping just to get home soon though. Get home tonight. I'd probably prefer to be on this flight, but if I'm on the DCA flight tomorrow, that'll work too. Just trying to get home at this point. So the latest, I am now booked on that DCA flight. I basically just asked them to take me off the A330 to Atlanta and send me to DCA. So they give me a hotel credit, so me and the guys will be able to crash tonight on their dime, and we'll be in DC tomorrow. So that ends up working out nicely.
Now it's time to find a hotel. We got in the first hotel shuttle that showed up and stayed at a Comfort Inn and Suites tonight.
Well, we're here at a Comfort Inn in Salt Lake City. Never in a million years thought our night would end here. But it'll be good. We get to sleep in the bed, and we have a good flight tomorrow on a nice plane, which is not the point, but that's a bonus. And yeah, I think we'll see you on the flip.
About 5.5 hours later, we are in the Uber on the way back to the airport. I am ready to go home at this point. I think we deserve some time in the Sky Club this morning. The one in Salt Lake City is new and huge, with great views, great amenities, and a ton of space, so overcrowding hopefully won't be a problem in this one. We even get a front row seat to watch this Delta Boeing 767-300ER arrive from Honolulu.
We are out here in the Sky Club, the brand new one in Concourse A at Salt Lake City. And even though it's cold, there's still nowhere I'd rather be than outside with the smell of jet fuel. But just look at these views.
It's time to head to the gate, and I'm excited for this one. I'll be in first class on Delta's brand new A321neo.
Airport and go to the designated smoking area curbside. Thank you.
These first row seats may be a bit close to the bulkhead, or I may be a bit too tall, but how cool are these seats? Tons of storage, power, and a great screen. Had we made our connection last night, we would have been rushed, a little annoyed, and definitely sleep deprived. But we got to reset in a hotel and were rewarded for our patience with a spectacular airplane. Things work out, don't they?
Everybody's so late, it's just very fast.
I want to take a minute to recap exactly what happened last night. My app rebooked me onto a flight that was sold out. I didn't realize this until I went to the gate agent and he said that while I'm confirmed on the flight, they overbooked and don't have a seat for me. He said they were looking for volunteers to spend the night and take a $600 credit. So I said, yes please, confirm me on this red-eye flight. He said, okay, you're in. Then I said, great, I'll volunteer to come off this flight. He said, okay great, here's $600. Great success. And as an added bonus, we get breathtaking views of the Rocky Mountains in the daytime. Breakfast was served on this flight. Options were sausage or French toast. By the time they got to me though, because they served back to front, only French toast was left. That's okay. I ordered blueberry French toast for breakfast, with a side of more breathtaking winter views. Breakfast was served piping hot with a side of fresh fruit. The flight attendant later came by and also delivered a croissant that felt like it had just been baked in an oven. After breakfast, we settle in for the remaining 2 hours or so of the flight. This just feels like pure luxury, and I really can't imagine anywhere I'd rather be than in this plane right now. And you can rest assured the bourbon was still flowing on this flight. We left the Rockies, traveled across the Great Plains in the Midwest, and made our way over to Appalachia, where it's also been snowing plenty this weekend. Unfortunately, that also means it's about time to head down on our way into DCA. We're passing Andrews Air Force Base as we line up for runway 1 into DCA. I've still never seen Air Force 1 in person. By every metric, this weekend was a terrible travel experience. Hours of delay, getting stranded in a layover city, having to get to a hotel, and being booked last minute to a different airport than we planned on flying to. And also, look at this flag at National Harbor. The winds are crazy. Anyway, the crazy part is, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. There are a few better ways to spend a day than traveling across the country. And when you get a good story out of it, that's an added bonus. As another bonus, this is my first time at DCA in all these years. This flight was by far the easiest of the four, with no delays and just generally good vibes the whole time. It was great to end on such a high note. I hope you had a good time following along with this adventure. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed it. Also, make sure you subscribe, as I have plenty of adventures coming up that you won't want to miss. Until next time.